This is Nanosecond Recap, the way for you to get caught up on all the news you might have missed this past month. So sit back and get caught up on all the news you might have missed in the month of February. E3 as we know it is doomed. E3 has been going downhill for a while, and it's been quickly overshadowed by events like Summer Game Fest, and big companies like Sony just don't appear at E3 anymore. And Xbox has a showcase during E3, but it's not really affiliated with E3. And now it seems like Nintendo is pulling out too, which is a real shame after E3's been trying to reestablish itself after the past couple years. And we'll see what other companies start to pull out too with this news popping up. But from this point forward, I feel like E3 is just going to be a smaller publisher and indie-focused event, with other companies having their big showcases around the same time, similar to what we've been having for the past couple years. Will it be the juggernaut that we've always had it been? No. But we will still have that week with a lot of gaming news coming out. Halo is staying with 343, and it might actually be a good thing.
You serious?
As part of the recent layoffs at Microsoft, 343 Industries was hit hard by them, like losing 95 staff members and about all of their contractors. And rumors quickly spread that Halo was going to be excised from 343 and going to be given to third-party developers from now on. Turns out that might not be the case. In fact, 343 might be hitting the reset button on Halo, just getting away from 4, 5, and Infinite. For instance, they'll be focusing on multiplayer only for a while, and they'll be moving the game to Unreal Engine, finally moving the series away from Slipspace. In fact, they're already working on the next Halo game, codenamed Tatanka, which started off as a battle royale but may evolve by the time it releases. But we'll most likely not see a new Halo campaign anytime soon. Hogwarts Legacy is missing a key feature.
Where are you?
In Hogwarts Legacy, you're able to use over 20 spells, 3 of those being the unforgivable curses, and people have been wondering, how do you get them? Is it from doing a lot of dark deeds and becoming a dark wizard? Or is it just from a simple unlock? Turns out, it's the latter. In fact, there's not even a morality system in Hogwarts Legacy, and you can't even become the menace of the school because you can only use the curses on enemies. And if somebody sees you using a curse like Avada Kedavra, they'll just forget about it later on. Does this mean your choices don't matter? No. There are different endings to the game. It just won't be like Fable or Mass Effect, where people actively treat you differently depending on your actions. It's just where they're able to use these spells so freely, even though one of the spells is supposed to fragment your soul. Ubisoft is imploding right before our eyes.
Not like this.
After the announcement of 3 major cancellations and major cutbacks to Ubisoft, more and more news has come out from there, and it is not looking good. Like at one point, they had over a dozen battle royales in development. Nobody needs that many battle royales. In Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot's email to the company, he puts the responsibility on the developers, saying it's on them to right the ship. And on top of all that, workers in France are now planning to strike, specifically because of Yves' comments from before. Mostly saying, if you're wanting us to right the ship, pay us more. At this point, Yves needs to go, and if that doesn't happen soon, time is running out for Ubisoft. This game franchise is officially cursed.
You're cursed, Jack.
One of PlayStation's biggest franchises right now, Horizon, has an interesting track record. Every major release and DLC releases next to a game that immediately overshadows it. And this is not to brag on Horizon. Just so far, the 2 main games in its series have released right next to games that have gone on to win a ton of Game of the Year awards. Like Zero Dawn released right before Breath of the Wild, its DLC Frozen Wilds launched right next to Super Mario Odyssey, Forbidden West launched a week before Elden Ring, and with Star Wars Jedi Survivor just being delayed by 6 weeks, it now comes out a week after Forbidden West DLC Burning Shores comes out. And so, the Horizon curse continues. Have you been wanting a Titanfall 3?
Yes!
Well, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Yesterday, EA announced they're canceling 2 mobile titles, Apex Legends Mobile and Battlefield Mobile. However, according to insider reports, they canceled a 3rd secret game. This game being a single-player game set in the Titanfall Apex Legends universe, and this game's codename was Titanfall Legends. Does this mean we're never getting a Titanfall 3? No. Anything is possible at this rate, but it does mean we'll have to wait a little bit longer before we get a follow-up to one of the greatest single-player campaigns ever made. The games industry currently has a massive problem. Lately, the games industry has been having a massive push towards live service games. Almost every major company is moving toward this style that basically is a money printer for them. However, lately, we've been seeing the issues with this. Just in the last week, we've had a lot of games announced that they're shutting down for good, like Apex Legends Mobile, Battlefield Mobile, Marvel's Avengers, and just recently, we've had announcements of Rumbleverse, Knockout City, and Back 4 Blood shutting down. And with companies like Sony announcing that they have 10 plus live service games in development right now, what does that mean for the future of gaming? With more games just lasting less than a year, will games that are just coming out not be playable in a year or 2? Here's every game you can get for free in February. Wait until you hear the last one. On PlayStation Plus starting February 7th, you can get Evil Dead the Game, Ollie Ollie World, Destiny 2 DLC Beyond Light, and the Mafia remake Mafia the Definitive Edition. On Xbox starting February 1st, you can get For the King, and February 16th, Guts and Goals. And then on Game Pass this month, you can get Darkest Dungeon, Hot Wheels Unleashed Game of the Year Edition, and finally Atomic Heart. Why is the Dead Space remake way more loved already than the Callisto Protocol? For me, it's just one key detail. Callisto Protocol had a lot going for it. It was made by the same creator as Dead Space. All the trailers made it look terrifying. It looked beautiful, but it fell on its face at launch, especially with it having bugs galore, which may be fixed by now, but the damage is already done. While Dead Space, it had some bugs, but it conquered everyone's fear. And what was really going for Dead Space was they collaborated with Dead Space fans, and they worked with EA Motive every step of the way to not just make Dead Space feel like Dead Space, but to fix any issues they might have had with the original game. While Callisto Protocol may have focused too much on being Dead Space, but in prison. Hogwarts Legacy could be one of the biggest gaming launches ever, and it is already setting records.
New record!
on!
Even with massive pushback because of the Harry Potter creator, and with the game being called out for possibly having anti-Semitic tropes, Hogwarts Legacy is on set to have as big of a launch as Elden Ring and Cyberpunk 2077, which are some of the biggest launches in modern gaming. It is already the #1 most wishlisted game on Steam, and it's been topping sales charts on Steam before it has even come out. And if this keeps up, this could lead to not only the biggest launch of 2023, but of modern gaming entirely. The only thing that can stop this now is a terrible launch or horrible reviews. The day before still can't prove it's a real game.
Imagination.
The zombie survival game The Day Before has had a lot of issues during its development. It's had countless delays, and it was pulled off the Steam store, leaving many to wonder if this is even a real game. And after countless promises of a gameplay trailer, it finally dropped. And did the gameplay trailer change anybody's mind? Not really. In this 10-minute gameplay reveal, you see characters run through a suburb, a city, do a lot of customization, and it just looks so bland. And to me, it looks like they just took some assets from Fortnite and a lot of generic assets from Unreal Engine 5 and just pieced them together, and just cranked all the visuals up in Unreal Engine 5. The only way they can convince anybody now is an actual gameplay demo. Hogwarts Legacy reviews are in. Is this the game that Harry Potter fans have dreamed about? Currently sitting at an 86 on Metacritic, reviewers are saying this is the most immersive game set in this world, but it's not letting you live out your fantasies of this world. Like, you're not going to classes every single day. Instead, you're going on an adventure in the world, and after the first couple classes, you're just doing homework to get more spells. On top of that, the reviewers are saying that the story is full of plot holes, and that while the world feels full, it feels way too ambitious for its own good, while also having a good amount of technical issues too. So if this version has technical issues at launch after all the delays, I could not imagine what last gen versions look like. So while this game does sound like it could be fun, it does not let you live out your fantasies of being a student at Hogwarts, while also being mired down by its creator being an awful human being. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is featuring 2 major changes, and you're gonna love the second one.
Finally!
The long-awaited sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is almost here, and we just learned it's going to feature some major updates beyond updates to combat and Cal's kit. The first one being rideable mounts, which will let you explore and get around planets much faster. And second, it's going to have fast travel, a feature that was sorely missing in the original game. We will now be able to jump from point to point without having to backtrack through entire levels just to find that one collectible that you missed. Nintendo Switch games are going up in price.
Huh?
The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom listing went up early on the eShop, ahead of the upcoming Nintendo Direct. However, its price on the eShop was $70, which is $10 more than any other pre-order anywhere else. But what makes this not feel like a typo was after it was discovered, it quickly got pulled down. And all other store listings got pulled down too, so you can no longer pre-order the game at $60. Along with this, other games listings like Metroid Prime 4 also got pulled down. So if this listing is true, starting after the Direct, Nintendo games will be costing $70 moving forward. PlayStation is sunsetting a big benefit for them, and it could also lead to you getting banned.
Wait a minute, something ain't right.
For the past 2 years, PlayStation has offered the PlayStation Plus collection, a collection of must-play games from the PS4 era. And you could add all these games to your library just by having a PlayStation Plus membership and a PS5. Well, recently PlayStation announced that it's going away, and you can still get these games just through the new PlayStation Plus service. However, people without PS5s have been trying to circumvent the system by logging into a friend's PS5 and redeeming the games that way. It turns out you can get banned for doing this, with the host PS5 getting a permanent ban and the guest accounts getting a 2-month ban. So if you're trying to get those free games before the service goes away, be careful. Insomniac's Wolverine's release window may have gotten leaked, and it is much sooner than you think it is.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening!
PlayStation Studio Insomniac is currently working on 2 Marvel games, Marvel Spider-Man 2, which releases this fall, and Wolverine, and we've seen next to nothing of them since their announcements. Turns out they might be releasing much closer together than we think they would be, and according to the leak, it could be coming out in late 2024, just about a year after Marvel Spider-Man 2 releases. On top of that, the leak reveals that Wolverine will be taking place before he joins the X-Men, and that it's going for a hard M rating, so they will not be holding back, specifically because they want to include dismemberment in the game. On top of that, it might also not be an open world game, so it sounds like Insomniac's teams are working overtime, but also doing everything right for these games. Conservatives are targeting Xbox, and it's for a dumber reason than you think it is.
It's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb!
The conservative culture war is now going after Xbox. Is it because violence in video games? Or is it because they're trying to buy up Activision Blizzard? No. It's because of a new power saving feature, which might indoctrinate kids into thinking about climate change. So what is this feature that has conservatives so up in arms? Well, it's an opt-out feature. It just changes the default power options to energy saving mode. So instead of going to sleep when you turn off your Xbox, it turns it off completely, while also adding a carbon aware option, which only changes how your console updates and downloads games to times when your energy grid is most likely using renewable energies, which again, you can opt out of any of these settings at any time. Play these 3 Game Boy games immediately through Nintendo Switch Online. Metroid 2 Samus Returns is a fantastic entry in the Metroid series, and a great starting point to really dive into the Metroid series. Kirby's Dream Land is the first Kirby game, and with a new Kirby game on the way, why not see where it all began? And finally, Wario Land 3. It's a bit tricky, but I think Wario Land games are much more fun than Mario games. They're way more accessible than Mario games too. Plus, Wario Land 3 is just really fun to play. Play these 3 Game Boy Advance games immediately through Nintendo Switch Online. Superstar Saga is a fantastic Mario RPG. You get to play as Mario and Luigi exploring a kingdom, trying to save Peach, and it's a long and fun adventure full of exploration and puzzles. WarioWare, quite possibly the best WarioWare to ever release. This one's minigames are top notch. It's wild, it's frustrating, and it's always a good time. And finally, Minish Cap, what I think is the best Zelda game ever made. It has a great story, and it involves shrinking to get around the world. Here's some can't miss magical games to get lost in this weekend. I Can Fell is a turn-based RPG about a group of troublesome kids finding the dark secrets hidden in their magical school. Potion Craft lets you run your own potion shop, finding new recipes and helping a whole town. Law Mage Academy is perfect for those looking for a more classic magical RPG. Songs of Glimmerwick is a fantastic life sim RPG where you attend classes, you grow a garden, and explore this magical island. The Nintendo Direct smashed every expectation.
Shut up and take my money.
We not only got release dates for long-awaited games like Pikmin 4, Cereza and the Lost Demon, Mickey's Illusion Island, Sea of Stars, and Advance Wars, plus reveals of some fantastic remasters like We Love Katamari Reroll Royal Reverie, Atrian Odyssey 1 and 3, Baten Kaitos 1 and 2, and the Metroid Prime Remaster, which is out today. And we got a massive update to Nintendo Switch Online with Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games. We also got some awesome new demos too, like Octopath Traveler 2 and Sea of Stars. But they also announced a new Professor Layton game and showed us a new Tears of the Kingdom trailer, now featuring buildable cars. Now excuse me, I gotta go play some Metroid Prime. This Dragon Age Dreadwolf leak has fans up in arms.
Pitchforks! Can't be an angry mob without pitchforks!
The next highly anticipated Dragon Age game had a massive leak showing off its combat, and it is not what fans expected. Supposedly BioWare's take on God of War, this gameplay is much more hack and slash than before, with fully real-time combat, and it's going to feature combo attacks that also lead to a special attack after a bar fills up, similar to the modern Assassin's Creed games, and no party controls. However, all the footage is from an alpha build, and is subject to change by the final release, but it does feel like they're making a blockbuster game instead of Dragon Age 4. This is what happens when you call the number the new Mario Bros. Trailer.
Thank you for calling Super Mario Brothers Plumbing. It's the mini Luigi. If you need service, please text us at the same number you just called. 92955 Mario. That's 929-556-2746. Message us about any issues wherever you live. House, condo, mansion? And we'll be sure to text you back right away, because at Super Mario Brothers Plumbing, we don't say let's wait. We say let's go. Oh, and check our website, snbplumbing.com. We're still working on it, so more updates to come. Bye-bye.
10 years since GTA 5 launched, GTA 6 might be much closer than we think it is.
Hold on to your butt.
After having a massive leak of just alpha footage last year, a new leak suggests that GTA 6 is much closer than we actually think it is. According to GTA 6 leaks and rumors, an insider has found files that are labeled bank release, beta, and debug, meaning the game could be in optimization mode, which could still take a lot of time, especially based off all the rumors saying that the game is going to be huge. And based on recent track records, they usually give their games 2 years after announcement before they release them. So if we get an announcement in 2023, we most likely won't see it until 2025. Still, that is much better than what everybody thought after seeing all the alpha footage last year. This is why we're getting so many game adaptations. January sales records are in, and it revealed a lot more than just Dead Space selling well. Specifically with The Last of Us, it proved exactly why Sony wanted to make a TV show and why so many more companies are hopping on the video game adaptation train. The Last of Us Part 1 saw a massive jump in sales after the launch of the TV show, jumping from the number 36 spot to number 11. In the UK alone, The Last of Us Part 1 and Remaster had massive sale increases, with an over 230% increase and over 320% increase respectively. And now time will tell if more shows bring in the same success. Is Microsoft lying about this one Game Pass fact? Since Game Pass launched, people have wondered if Game Pass hurts or helps game sales. And this question was supposed to have been answered back in 2018, when Phil Spencer said Game Pass actually encourages game sales, using evidence from State of Decay 2's launch, where it had increased sales on the same month it launched on Game Pass. But as part of the Activision acquisition process in England, Microsoft admitted the exact opposite. It actually cannibalizes sales, with a redacted percentage of a game's sales decreasing for 12 months following their addition to Game Pass. It's worth noting though that back in 2018, there was about 1 million subscribers to Game Pass, whereas now there's over 25 million subscribers. So people now have a better understanding of what Game Pass actually is. With this one change, God of War Ragnarok could have been a completely different game.
Spoilers!
In an interview with MinMax, narrative director Matt Sophos revealed that God of War Ragnarok almost had a completely different intro that would have changed everything. In the beginning fight between Kratos and Thor was going to send Kratos to hell, essentially making the prophecy revealed at the end of God of War true. And just like all other God of War games, he would escape hell. But it completely undermines the messaging of the game, that if you're willing to change, you will not be bound by fate. And so, as a result, they scrapped it, and we have the epic fight that we have now. By doing this one thing, Nintendo might be trying to prolong the life of the Switch.
Breathe, darn you!
So far, Nintendo has had 2 prominent releases in 2023, Fire Emblem Engage and Metroid Prime Remastered. But both of these games have one thing in common. Based on rating board submissions, these games were finished back in 2021, so Nintendo has been sitting on these games for almost 2 years. So why are they holding on to the games for this long? It could be to pad out their schedule. By looking at the upcoming year, they have Pikmin 4 and Tears of the Kingdom, with a massive gap until they launch. And waiting to release some games will give their other teams time to develop their games, while also artificially creating a steady stream of games to give the 3rd best-selling console of all time more time before the new console comes out. You would not believe this way Nintendo marketed Smash Bros.
Oh, your guy.
In 1999, Nintendo had a legendary way to market Smash Bros. Specifically with a commercial that showed all the characters getting along and then beating the crap out of each other. Turns out this campaign gets better. Nintendo hosted an actual slugfest with fighters in Nintendo costumes beating the crap out of each other in a boxing ring. They even live streamed this event. And what makes this even better was the fighters used the actual costumes from the commercial. Now, if the Super Mario Bros. Movie leads to a Smash Bros. Movie, I would love to see a new iteration of this. Here is every major announcement from the new Pokemon Showcase in less than 30 seconds. The trading card game is getting a classic premium set. Pokemon is creating a new show with Netflix with stop-motion animation about a Pokemon hotel. Pokemon Unite is getting Zacian and a boss rush mode. Pokemon Sleep is real and coming out this summer. The new Pokemon Go attachment Pokemon Go++ was re-announced, and will have a talking Pikachu to sing lullabies to you, and will work with Pokemon Sleep. New Paradox Pokemon are coming to Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet gets Suicune's Walking Wake, and Violet gets Virizian's Iron Leaves. And finally, Scarlet and Violet's DLC was announced. It's called The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero and will come in 2 parts, the Teal Mask and the Indigo Disc, both with new areas, new Pokemon, and new legendaries to catch. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell, and let me know in the comments anything that I missed, and I'll see you next month.